Hello there, you amazing hacker. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine. So, a lot of you have been asking me some questions, and I think you're asking the wrong questions. I'm going to explain you why, but first, let me tell you a little bit about RatCTF. The Rat Pack has bonded together, and we've joined forces with the Try Hack Me, and we're going to present you with RatCTF. Now, the link and the details will be in the description below. So if you want to subscribe to that, if you want to join the RatCTF, there are 4 prizes you can win. So I would highly recommend that you do. Now on to the video. Why do I think that a lot of you have been asking the wrong questions? Well, there have been a couple of questions I want to go over. The first one would be, what vulnerability do I pick? Do I focus on like cross-site scripting? Do I go for IDOR? Which one do I pick? And I think you're asking kind of the wrong question here, because the first thing you should be asking yourself is, what functionality am I testing here? And is it the correct functionality that I want to test? So say for example, you're testing like, let's say you're testing the rights module, like this user can do this and this and this, that user can do that and that and that. In that instance, you should be using IDOR, of course. If you're registering, you should be doing some cross-site scripting attack vectors in there. It really highly depends on what you're testing and when you're testing it. To know exactly what to do when is of course a little bit context dependent, and you're going to have to get some experience, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem, just that's why I always say, if you want to know if you can become a good bug bounty hunter or not, you should just try it and see what happens, especially if you think you have enough experience. Just go for it, go find the vulnerability disclosure program and go test yourself, test your methodology against the target, Another question I get asked a lot is, what program should I pick? And now that is a little bit context dependent as well, because you should really focus on, am I comfortable with the technology that the programs are using? So say for example you find a program and that program is using ASP.NET, but you have no idea about ASP.NET and you're really familiar with PHP. I would just skip that program for now, especially if you're just getting started out, and I would go look for specifically a target that focuses on PHP, because that's where your strengths lie. And in bug bounty hunting, it's all about your strengths. Of course, you can also have your weaknesses, but you're going to have to, especially in bug bounty hunting, a lot of people have gone over the target before you, and not a lot of people, not a lot of targets are going to pay you money for something that they can obviously find easily. So you're going to have some expert knowledge for that kind of stuff. That's why I really say focus on the technology. And if you don't want to focus on the technology at hand, what technology am I comfortable learning at? So if you really want to learn new stuff in ASP.NET, you can still choose that target, of course, but you're going to have to do a whole lot of learning and go really deep into the target. That's why I always say you have to go deeper. Now on to the next question, number 3. Why am I not getting any bounties? Now the question you should be asking yourself is, how can I help these companies, these targets, find bugs that have impact, that matter? And it's really important, because the impactful bugs are not always the easiest to find. It's really context dependent. First of all, let's say for example you have a payroll company and you hire people in your company and they can work with the application. That application is going to be a lot less security dependent than an application that's going to be open to the general public, because the people you hire are already in a position of trust. That's going to put the roles a bit differently, and it's also going to matter a lot. Like say for example you find cross-site scripting. If it's a self-cross-site scripting, the impact is going to be a lot lower, unless you manage to actually find a CSRF token missing somewhere that allows you to actually insert that cross-site scripting attack vector. But again, it's going to be a lot less if you cannot actually do any damage in the account page or in wherever you're able to insert that self-XSS. So that's why I always tell you guys to find value, find something that the company can actually use. And it's not easy. You actually have to spend quite a lot of time on the program to know what the company's core business is and usually you should look around that core business, those are where the most impactful bugs will take place. Now, another question I get asked quite often is, am I good enough for this? Am I good enough to become a bug bounty hunter? I have these skills. What you should really be asking yourself is, am I persistent enough to keep on digging and finding those hidden features, hidden endpoints, those hidden gems? That's really important, because persistency is like all that matters in this game. And I really mean it. Of course, skill matters a lot as well. But if you are really skillful and you're not persistent enough, you won't find the features. Let's say you know the OWASP top 10 by heart. You're not going to find like a reflected cross-site scripting on the search page of a story, It's not that easy. Integrity did an amazing challenge recently for cross-site scripting, where they actually hit the cross-site scripting attack vector on a 403 page that you had to trigger by finding a dot file. Really interesting. I'll talk about the write-up a little bit later as well, because there are a few available and I want to go over them so you guys see them as well. Really interesting challenges from those guys always. Which brings me on to the next question. Should I quit my job and become a full-time bug bounty hunter? First of all, probably not. The question you should be asking yourself is, do I like to be paid on an irregular basis, never knowing where my next paycheck is going to come from, long hours, not knowing how much I'm going to make every month? If you like all that stuff, I'm not going to stop you, but make sure that you can find some consistent money first, because consistency is the name of the game. And if you really, really want to shine at bug bounties, it's going to be really hard, You won't find $15,000 laying around on the street somewhere. You have to be really, really lucky or really persistent and skillful for that. So those are a few questions that I hope I was able to change your perspective on a little bit. If you liked the video, I would really appreciate if you guys could leave me a like. That always helps me out a lot. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye everybody. See you later.